Welcome to Inner Peace Better Health, the sanctuary for your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Saima, and tonight's guest, Heidi Blackie, is living proof that belief is medicine. Once a housebound by chronic illness, she is now the radiant creator of Unshakable Me, a global speaker and a fierce guide for women reclaiming their inner power. Now, if you have ever doubted your healing potential, this conversation will shake your soul in the best way. So, Heidi, can you take us back? Like, what was life like when your health hit its lowest point, and what was the first spark of change?
Thank you, Saima. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I had always been a very busy person, doing from the moment my feet hit the ground till the moment I went to bed. And I did that for years. And eventually I started developing illnesses and injuries that would not heal fully or would take a while to heal. And I kind of patched myself up and kept going. And then in 2016, I lost my dog to cancer and my sister to suicide within 3 months. And then I got married 6 weeks after that. And so I had just a lot of stress and grief and loss that was almost like a lit match to all of the kind of harboring illnesses and bugs that I had kind of been ignoring for years. And so I started to have more frequent episodes of illness that would land me in bed for at least 2 weeks at a time. Then I would get a little better, and then I would flare up again. And I'd had successive losses over the next several years. And so by 2021, I was unable to work. I couldn't drive. I kept leaving the stove on. I couldn't find words. I was in bed most days a week, and I was really full of despair. I had a really hard time with focus and being able to do just simple daily things. And I was full of anxiety about the future, anxiety about not finding a doctor who could help me. I had seen a lot of doctors and hadn't really gotten any answers. And so I was sitting in my kitchen one morning in January in 2021. It was raining, it was dark, it was cold. And I felt like I had always been kind of a missing piece in a lot of my healing practices. They felt kind of prescriptive. And a lot of them I had taught patients and clients as well that were really helpful. But I turned the lens inward and I asked myself, what am I believing about my ability to heal? Because at that point, I had no one to give me a good diagnosis or help me out of this. And the answer kind of blew me away. And it was this raw truth of, I'm actually believing that I'm not going to heal, because it'd been so many years that I had been sick. And I was afraid I was going to get worse. So that was my all-time low. And that became a turning point. And I thought, if I'm not believing I can heal and I'm not believing in myself, how can I ever heal? It doesn't matter what treatment if I don't believe in it and I don't believe in me and my body's ability to heal, which up to then I had felt like my body let me down or betrayed me, or I had guilt too about driving myself so hard into the ground for so many years. And so that created this new direction of committing to this incredible belief in myself, which was very new. I'd never really believed in myself with conviction. So it felt like a baby horse that stands up for the first time. It was like, I don't really know how this works, but I'm going to commit to it anyway. And And I had created daily practices around it and anchors for it. And I love research. And I dove into the research on the biology of belief, that it actually can change cellular processes in your body and create a safe place for my body to heal. So it's been this incredible journey of learning about myself and connecting with myself and finding this incredible healer that we all have within us, and this power that we have within us, that in American society we're kind of taught that healing happens from outside of us and from providers. So it's been quite a journey.
Absolutely. That shift, like from surviving to choosing yourself, is everything. It's a kind of quite revolution, right?
It is, yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was living in survival for so long, and I had so many patients and clients living in survival. And when you flip it, it's this tremendous power that you step into.
Exactly. Now, you created Unshakable Me. So, what does it like mean to be unshakable, and how does someone become that?
So Unshakable Me is it just came to me one morning. It's 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 a noun. It's a part of you. So when I started this journey of self-discovery and this self-acceptance and a really deep belief in myself, I feel like I touched my soul, my spirit, and it's this deep part of me that is an ally, that is this strength, this source of resilience to do anything, to get through anything. And that's what I call my unshakable me. It's this power that resides within us. And I never set out to create anything. I was I've been on this journey that's just been unfolding, but it has changed my whole life. I mean, it's led to healing, but it's changed the paradigm in which I view life. I've experienced so much joy and connection and possibility and freedom from so many the limiting beliefs that have dominated my whole life. And I want this for everyone. I want to shout it from the mountaintops that we all have so much power in us to choose our lives, to create amazing lives and connections. And if I can help people connect with themselves, then we can connect more easily with each other, which I feel is so necessary in this kind of polarized world. So that's why I created Unshakable Me, because I want people to, I'm not healing anyone. I'm helping people find the healer, the power, the strength, the resilience that's within every one of us, and create a life of purpose, of joy, of connection, and of freedom.
That's noteworthy. So, can you share some common myths that keep women stuck in like smallness or fear?
Yeah, I think, I mean, being an American, we're taught from early age, at least I was, and most of the people that I know and have treated, that we look outside of ourselves for healing, for approval, for validation, for what success looks like. And when we turn that around and look inside of ourselves for those things, then we become stronger. So the myth is that we're taught a narrative. We grow up with this narrative that it's outside of ourselves. And And really it's within ourselves. I'm not saying that people shouldn't seek help and support for healing. That's very important, and I support myself where I need it along the way. But the myth is that we look outside of ourselves, and we have, a lot of us have a kind of an inner critic that kind of drags us down, and change seems like it's so much bigger than it has to be.
Mm-hmm. I, you know, I just love that unshakable doesn't mean unbreakable. It means rooted, real, and resilient, right?
It does, and I think what I grew up with is you resilience means you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you power ahead, and you just barge on through, and you don't feel. And Unshakable Me has taught me that actually a new definition of resilience is going through the muck. It's feeling it. It's saying, it sucks right now. It's really, really hard. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been here, and I can do this again, and I can get through it. And there's an impermanence to this moment, and it's not going to stay this way forever. And just kind of try to ride that wave. And that to me is resilience, and that deepens that reservoir of strength, of kind of that unshakable me part of me.
Ah, that's a wonderful definition, Heidi.
Thank you.
Now, mm-hmm, welcome. So, as an occupational therapist for 25 years, what have you learned about how belief and biology intersect in the healing process?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, well, in our medical model, I worked in a hospital for 18 years, and a lot of people come in and want to be fixed. And it's help and so it's really involving people in a collaborative relationship that is helping them kind of find the ways to recover their health. And it's so much where this whole kind of separation of mind and body is kind of it's a very reductionist way to look at health and healing. We're all one. And so I do a lot of work with people visualizing. I've done a lot of work with people visualizing use of their, I was a hand therapist for a number of years. And so I have them visualize how they would be doing certain things to keep that part of their body active and alive, even if they aren't able to use it. And also kind of tapping into the resources within them that they have to help look at other parts of their lives and how that injury is affecting them, and how what and also how parts of their lives are interacting with that. So stress, for example, is something that is a very much of a slow downer of healing, and it affects, obviously, so much of our whole selves. So it's helped me be a better listener, and it's helped me to really look at the whole person and then adapt the ways in which I'm leading them toward, toward healing.
So, how can someone, start reprogramming their body and brain for health?
I think that's a good question. My opinion is that you have to look at what you're believing. There's a lot about nervous system regulation. Somatics are really hot right now. And all of those are important. And I was doing all of those. But if you're believing and holding on to thoughts and emotions that are keeping you stuck or sick, it's it's a big missing piece to healing. So starting with believing that you can heal, starting with thinking about, gosh, what could my life look like when I'm healthy? What does a healthy life look like? Because our thoughts affect our beliefs and our feelings, and and they impact our choices and our behaviors. And so if we can really use our thoughts and start with that and see a healthy life, then that's a great start.
It's, actually so powerful to remember our nervous system listens to every thought we think, right?
That's a very good point. Our nervous system is always on the lookout, always listening. Yes.
Mm. Now, you have guided like countless women. Can you share a story or moment that reminds you why this work deeply matters?
Yeah. Um, I worked with a woman who actually didn't have a lot of things that she kind of came to me to work on, and was open to whatever unfolded. So it was in the process of taking a look at her stories that she was believing, that she discovered there was something that was a habit, that was a pretty damaging habit. And she said, I knew where it started, but I have tried so many times to stop, and I've never been able to. And she's middle age, so she's been doing this for a very long time, and she knew what it was in response to. And she started to go through the program, and she got really curious about what was around that, as well as a lot of the self-discovery piece. And she was really surprised at the changes that occurred in her, and that she doesn't do the habit anymore, and she doesn't think about it anymore. And it's really changed her life. And so the pillars that make up the program, she's applying those to a lot of other areas of her life where she feels challenged, or she's facing problems or situations. And it was something that I was kind of like, I don't know if you're going to get much out of the program. You don't seem like you've got a lot going on. And then it was just through this process of unwinding and really going inward that she discovered, yeah, this is something that I really don't want to be doing anymore. So that was really exciting and unexpected.
Mm-hmm. So, how can listeners begin tapping into the healer within?
I think slowing down and really looking inside. And, when we have a wound, our body just knows what to do. I think it's believing that our bodies know what to do and supporting them. I had chronic illness for so long, and my body was very much off the rails. My inner healer was very confused. And so it took finding a good doctor, but also it took me believing that I can heal, and creating the environment for healing, making sure my nervous system feels safe, and taking care of myself, giving myself compassion and love, because those things really help your nervous system feel safe. And when our nervous system is in that kind of restorative parasympathetic tone, that's when the healing happens. And so really remembering that we have millions and millions of processes that our body does without us even noticing or knowing, every day just to keep us alive and to keep us healthy. And so giving that spirit within us love and care with the things that we do, the things that we think about, and the choices that we make.
Mm-hmm. Yes, healing isn't linear, but moments like this reminds us that it's possible for everyone, no?
I believe it is. And it's definitely not linear. Um, and it's being patient with expectations and not giving up on ourselves. And that's really hard. It's very easy to sit here and say, "Oh, don't give up on yourself." But it can be hard in the darkest moments. But that's when I think, reach out for support where you need it, and give that to yourself too. We we're so hard on ourselves often, and I think giving us that love that we deserve is a really big piece of it.
I completely agree with that, Heidi. Now, for someone listening right now who feels like powerless in their body or life, what are two things they can do today to begin their own journey towards wholeness?
That's a good question. I feel like a lot of us feel powerless right now. I think, again, it's coming back to ourselves and looking at the power that each one of us holds. It's so easy to look at the bigger things and lose sight of how can I make a difference in my life or in the world right now. And that's why, bringing it in to ourselves and looking at every thought that I think, every choice that I make, where I put my attention can all empower me, or it can give my power away. So one thing a person could do today is look at, where are you spending your energy? Are you focusing your energy on things that deplete you? Or are you focusing your energy on things that fill you up? Are you making choices that can really help you move forward in your life? And knowing that each one of us has a power, even just with the things that we think about in our small daily decisions, and the way that we talk to ourselves. That inner voice is so important. So really bringing that power in and not believing the narratives that tell you that you have no power, but really taking steps to look at your energy and how you can bring it in and build it up.
That's surely going to be beneficial for all our listeners out there, Heidi.
Thank you.
So, can you share some like daily self belief practice, which look like now?
I journal every day. I ask myself what I'm believing, especially around challenges, believing about myself and believing about the challenge. I do mirror work. So I talk to myself in the mirror, which was weird at first. I have mantras and anchors. So I was just out skiing last week, Nordic skiing, and I felt really tired. And I asked, how is that story of me being tired helping me? And it really isn't. So then how can I shift the story to, I feel pretty good and I'm outside and I'm skiing and this is great. And just that shift gave me more energy. So it's constant, it's awareness, it's checking in, and it's choosing what stories and beliefs help help serve me in some way rather than kind of take away.
Mm-hmm.
and then I do
Sometimes
movement.
it's
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Mhm. Yeah,
Continue.
please continue.
Oh,
It's
I move every day. I move every day too.
uh,
That's another thing.
yeah, sometimes the first step isn't like big, it's just brave. That's more than enough, right?
Yes, and actually I do have a breathing practice I do every day. Yeah, I think people when we talk about change and we want so much for the big things in our life to be different, we think it's so big, but you're absolutely right, Saima. It starts with very small steps and being consistent and showing up for yourself.
Absolutely, Heidi. Your journey is a lighthouse. Thank you for showing us that illness doesn't define us, belief does. And to all of us listening, your body is not your enemy. Your story isn't over, and within you is the power to rise, reclaim, and rewrite your reality. Connect with Heidi at somersaultwellness.com and discover your unshakable me. Until next time, choose yourself, believe fiercely, and live like healing is already happening.